You built the business. Now, build the man. This is the Ben Preece experience.
James Preece, who are you and why are you here?
Why am I here? Great question. Great question there, Ben. I'm James Preece. I am a leading dating coach. I have single clients all around the world, and I get to help men and women find love and to deal with the frustrations of modern day dating now. And hopefully today I'm here to help your guys that you've got listening to this to give us some direction, give us some pointers, make dating and relationships more fun and engaging. And yeah, and who knows what you're going to ask me? We're going to find that out in a second. But I'm just here to help, really, and to have a nice chat. That's what I'm here for.
Amazing. Yeah. So I think we just found each other on LinkedIn, didn't we? Well, I found you on LinkedIn.
Maybe it was like a mutual thing somewhere in the ethos. I don't know.
Maybe. I was sort of thinking to myself, I'd really like to, because I work with a few guys who are single and are dating, and I'd really like to speak to someone who's an expert, a real expert on this. And then you pop into my sphere of consciousness as it comes about.
I do that. No, LinkedIn's great. LinkedIn is great for connections, and I've got my own podcast as well. So it's always good to get new connections and good to chat to people, because I said this to you before, I really support what you're doing and your audience. And I think there's a massive need for this right now. So I'm glad that you found me, and hopefully we can do a lot of things together.
Yeah.
Providing this goes well.
Why do you feel like there's a massive need for it?
I have a lot of men that come to me, under 30 in particular, who are just so confused and so lost, don't know how to meet partners. The ways that people met when I was younger don't really exist the same way. So I would meet from work. I would meet from going out to bars, not always clubs, but out to bars, just socializing a lot more. And now the younger generation don't have the money, don't have the time. They work remotely. Dating apps have come along and made it very easy for women to get dates and opportunities, but not so much for men. Because guys don't go around taking pictures of themselves. The guys don't know how to interact. There's also the fear that they will approach someone they're interested in, and they will be judged for being sexist, being inappropriate, and they'll get told off and shouted at for even opening for someone's door. Sometimes can be judged that way. And it's not quite the reality that men think it is, but I think men are very lonely. And we know about men being lonely. That's a common topic. But I think my job is to bring more love into the world, and we all deserve to have it, and everyone wants it. And a lot of guys do think that they're the last one standing. There's no one out for them. No one's ever going to find them. They're not engaging enough. So men don't have many hobbies. Their whole life is just pretty much working, coming home, watching a bit of YouTube. And that's even maybe something a bit more extreme than YouTube. And they're watching that, and then they go to work the next day. And that's what happens. And they don't have many friends, don't go to the gym, and don't do much. So I think we can give people a bit more guidance and make their life more fun and engaging, wherever that can involve. Then that's a very rewarding thing to do.
100%. How did that happen? How did we get to this point?
We've always been heading towards this point. I think, well, I don't want to go too controversial, but women very much so getting their own way in life. They're providing for themselves and getting high-powered jobs, which is wonderful, and I fully support that. But it's made men question themselves and not know what their role is anymore. They don't necessarily need to be the provider in a relationship. They have the dating apps, and women just go through them all, and men have become more disposable because men don't know what their role is in life. And I think we have to guide them to see what they want to be. And it's not about manning up necessarily and being all this toxic masculinity that's out there. And I've seen a lot of documentaries on this recently. I don't know if you've seen the one with Louis Theroux yet. If you watched that, come on.
Is it live now?
It's live. It came live a couple of days ago.
Well, I can't wait.
I've been watching it.
It's going to be comedy gold.
It's comedy gold. I'm a massive fan of Louis Theroux. I think he's great. But the way that they're doing it, men are looking for role models. That's what's happened. We've always had that. And I'm very lucky I had a strong role model with my dad when he was alive, guiding me. He wasn't perfect, because no one's perfect. I'm not saying I'm the most perfect person myself, but he was the role model. But things were different. There's a bit more discipline went on when I was younger that we can't do now. When I was at school, they used to have the belt. You're probably not old enough for this. Do you remember that? It was normal. You get and I never actually got this, but you get the belt at school if your headmaster wasn't happy with you, or you get the cane, or you get the slipper. It was the end of that, but it was still allowed. But we were terrified to say the wrong thing, and manners and respect were always there. I think a lot of people have lost manners and respect for everybody, and I would summarize that as the word kindness. People just don't know how to be kind to each other anymore, and that's a massive problem that I say. I don't know if you see that as well. And I think I want to bring that into people's life, to just be more kind to each other. And what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's a good It's a good point. And I think, so I'm thinking of the archetypes of the king and the shadows of the king.
Yep.
Which are tyranny, but the other side of that shadow is weakness. So the nice guy.
Yeah, the nice guy. That is a topic in itself, isn't it? Because
It is.
a lot of men say that women don't want the nice guy. And I've got a lot of thoughts on that I want to say. Being a nice guy isn't the problem. I'm a nice guy. Maybe you're a nice guy from what I can tell, but it doesn't define you as a weak person. I think what women want, they want a nice guy with an edge. They want somebody who is ambitious, passionate, knows who they are, driven, can be a bit vulnerable sometimes. Niceness is not a weakness any more than vulnerability is. But there's a misconception that being a nice guy is therefore going to turn women off. Being a boring nice guy who doesn't talk to women, doesn't have anything going on in their life, doesn't have any hobbies, why would they want that? They want the man with a bit of an edge who's going to make their life a bit more interesting and have adventures with. That's what I think is what I define by a nice guy. And there are famous books out there, No More Mr. Nice Guy. I'm sure you've read all these books, and they have valid points, but we can be nice and we can also have a darker edge to them. I definitely do. I've always had an element, not a darker edge, but I've always had an element of maybe mischief and cheekiness and living my own way. I would not say in any way I'm an alpha man or a beta man or any of these things. Maybe more of a maverick if you're going to go into that sort of thing. But then who are we to define ourselves? Why should we pigeonhole ourselves into anything? I live my life my own way, and that's why I had a career for the last 21 years doing something that I made up on the spot. So what do you think about nice guy? Is that always going to be a turn off for women?
I think your point is really valid. And I think nice guy is the people pleasing part. Because you said earlier about, what did you say? You said something about being being useful and being to women. But being a nice guy is not useful for women in that sense, in the people pleasing sense. And I think that's the confusion, is like, what's the difference between your version of a nice guy and the version of the nice guy in No More Mr. Nice Guy, which is a great book. And that's the people pleaser. Yeah.
It is. An example of that is a lot of men will meet women, and on the first date, they will try and solve all their life's problems on the first date. The woman's got a problem. She wants to get a new job. And they'll think, oh, do you know what? I'm going to fix this. Yeah. I'm going to try and turn this around. I'm going to solve this problem. If I solve the problem, it makes me more attractive, but it weakens your position. Women don't go on a first date trying to seek help for their job or their life. They're there to get to know you and see if they're compatible. And then there's an extreme of this that I call the Superman complex, where men like to sweep in and save women, and they are absolute people pleasers for it, really. And they're doing it because they want to help themselves and boost their own ego sometimes, or they just genuinely want to help people. And a woman's got a problem. Oh, I'm going to sweep in. I'm going to be a superhero. I'm going to do this. That's not the answer at all. And I tell people this: if you're in a relationship, absolutely help each other out. That's what you're there for. But this woman doesn't know you, and they do it even when they're texting back and forth. They're trying to solve the problems. If you do that, you're going to be seen as the nice guy, the people pleaser. It's going to devalue you. They want you to think you've got an exciting life away from them, and maybe you can have a bit of an escape from it. But I do see lots of nice guys out there who are trying too hard. I think trying too hard is probably the big problem. Or the opposite of this, not trying enough. This is something else that I think is quite important. A lot of men have completely given up now on dating. They've given up on talking, interacting, don't think anyone's interested, had some bad experiences in the past, and they've lost hope, which is awful, isn't it? That's the worst thing that's possible. And I want to give people hope, because there's women out there that are absolutely lost too. Women want to find a good partner. If no one ever found each other, we'd never have marriages, babies, or relationships. It wouldn't happen. But it does happen. But you have to know your own value. And something I teach people is to work out their own value. So an example of this, one of the questions that I ask people when I start working with them, male or female, is why would someone choose to date you? What would they be interested in you? Because quite often it's about, what can I get from someone else? I want to get a man who's got a sports car and a good job and he's 6'3". People don't ever say that to me. That's what men think women are going to say. They say that the same things. They want somebody who is kind, someone who is loyal, someone who is fun, and someone who is interesting. And just to prove all this, I have these written down on my notepad here, as you can see. Back to front on there, I'm sure. But I have that there because I often reveal what they're going to say to me. And it's like a magic trick that I do. It's always written down. So I ask men, why would someone really be interested in you? What makes you interesting? If you haven't got an interesting life, if nothing's going on, go out there and find out what makes your heart sing. Go and do something. Because even going to the gym can be enough to get you started, get you kick-started. You've got to have some hobbies. And something else I tell people as well It's a lot of talking here from me rather than you asking me questions. This is my style. Sorry, Ben. If you want to interrupt me, feel free.
Just
You know
great.
I like to talk. You
You're
know I
on
like
flow.
to talk.
You're in flow. It's great.
I'm always in flow. That's the thing. I have to sit back. I'm so used to doing my own podcast. It's a good opportunity to talk rather than just to listen to people. You have to come and do my podcast. That'd be a nice thing. So I was in flow there. People say, well, the worst dating advice is be yourself. And the reason
People
that's
say
bad
that people say is the worst dating advice
I think it's really bad dating advice to be yourself.
because people don't know who they are.
People don't know who they are.
Yeah.
And also because we've got to be the best version of ourselves instead.
Yeah.
If you've got someone who's not very happy, you hate your job, your life sucks, you don't do anything, you've got no friends, why is being that going to make someone interested in you or help you? It's not. You've got to work out what you really want and put some steps forward to make that happen. So if it is to find a relationship, then working with a coach to work out the first steps, how you can start to interact. If you want to get a new job, go and see a career coach or get some guidance. Go on ChatGPT if you have to. Do something to kickstart that. It's really, really important to get the support and to move forwards. Because we've all got things that we want to do, and life is very, very short. So it's so important that you live your life authentically and you do things that you want to be. Because especially when you're young and you've got the freedom and flexibility to do that. Once you become a parent, you've got so many more responsibilities and it becomes much more difficult to do it.
Yeah.
While
True.
you're young, absolutely go out there and do it because you're responsible for other people. And I've got 2 little boys and it's so important I make sure I'm a good role model to them. I'm not always a good role model. I think I'm far too much letting them get away with stuff and it's far too much the fun side of things. And the one that they go to their mum and she's the serious one, which isn't always good, but that's our roles. And I think when I get annoyed, they don't take it seriously because this is who I am. But you've got all this all to come with.
You don't realize how much free time you have until you have kids.
Very much true. Very true.
Yeah.
Scheduling everything is difficult.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of monk mode? And it's mainly I hear it with young entrepreneurial men, and I kind of understand what they mean, and I do get it. What's your thoughts on? Do you know what it is, and what's your thoughts on it?
I've got a vague idea, but if you can explain that, I'll make sure.
Okay, yeah. So monk mode is where they say to me, basically, I'm not dating, I'm not doing anything, I'm not going to see any women, I'm just going to work. I don't want any distractions, basically.
Yes. That's what I thought it was. So just to confirm, that was what it thought. It's what they do that all the time. And women do it too. Women think, well, I'm going to focus on my career, get these things sorted out. I have a lot of men who come to me and they have spent all their time focusing on their career, trying to boost themselves, starting up side hustles. Side hustles are very much a buzzword. Side hustles. Everyone's got a side hustle going on that they don't stick to. But it's fine. It's a hobby, it's a passion, and that's great. But monk mode, when you're just so focused on this, that's lovely, but you're missing out on opportunities. Now, men haven't got the whole body clock ticking that women have. But a lot of women do this. And when they sort of hit 30s, they've got the career and they think, do you know what? I want to have a kid now, but I haven't done much dating. I've been wasting my time with the wrong people. But men who are entirely focused on this, it's the same as what I said before. They've given up on dating, really, at least temporarily. And once you give up on something, it's very hard to get back into it and to boost the confidence. I think for some people, it's very valid. For others, it is just a distraction and an excuse not to take action. I'm far too focused on my business to ever have to deal with this. But business and work also require you to be good at relationships.
Yeah.
And if you want to be any sort of sales, any sort of job, it's all about marketing. And to do that, you've got to be a salesperson. You've got to be a salesman. You've got to know how to interact the right way. So you are learning that. So relationship skills in general are so important. Monk mode to me mostly is just a load of nonsense. People that are lying to themselves. What do you think?
I totally agree. I think it's, I get why they're doing it, because especially the entrepreneurial guys, because I think because they are immature in their lover. The lover part of us is immature. By the way, not judging, because I've also been an immature lover. And then they get addicted. They get addicted into it. And then everything else goes out the window. So then it's easier just to avoid it all entirely rather than mature and maybe heal some wounds that they may have.
That in itself is part of the issue now, I think. We've got so much, everyone's carrying some sort of trauma or pain or rejection in the past. Even the celebrities I work with don't want to be rejected. It's a normal thing because no one wants to feel they're not good enough. And we've all got this built up. And I have a lot of clients now, particularly male clients, who went to an all-boys school and don't know how to interact with women at all and to do that. And they're so much used to focusing and competing and trying to outdo each other that they're focused on that. They make the excuse. There is absolutely no reason why you can't have a good work-life balance if you work it out. Because what is the point in achieving a business and achieving your freedom and flexibility you're going to have if you've got no one else to share it with? And I'm not saying you have to tie yourself down to one person. This is not about monogamy, this conversation, although I do teach most of that. That is my own philosophy, monogamy, but I've got many people that want to explore other options, and that's a fun thing. People do want to explore multiple partners, but you watch all these. I mentioned the documentary, Toxic Masculinity. You are programmed. Oh, you're a better man if you've got 10 partners on the go.
Oh,
you're going to have that.
That's a lot of that.
And that's what they tell you all that. And when I was younger, I had multiple partners on the go. But it wasn't that I was telling each other. I wasn't telling them I was doing this. I just didn't know which one I wanted. And that to me is fine. It's fine to experiment, to go out there and find these things out. When I met my wife, I knew that she was the one. I cut out 3 women I was seeing straight away. They didn't all know about it immediately, but one of them did. And one of them found out 2 months later when she tried to come back from Sweden to see me because she moved home to work. I said, "Look, I've met someone else now." She took it really well, bless her. But I think when you know you've grown up and you had the experiences, then you learn from this. Whether that makes me an immature lover or not, I don't know. Going back to it, I think I grow up and I made massive mistakes with women. And you look back on it and they haunt you, as does the trauma from your past when you've been rejected by women or rejected by your friends or rejected by your teachers. And little comments can absolutely haunt you in your head at school. And that's what forms it. I think we're not taught how to relate properly in schools. And even now, my 8-year-old is struggling. He's got some friends, but one day he's not friends with them, one day he is, and he gets in trouble for not playing with them. He doesn't know how to form the relationship because he's puts all his trust in one person and he falls out. But we've all been there. This all happens. But I think the school needs to be more encouraging towards teaching people how to interact, both with the same sex and opposite sex, because that's such a massive foundation of how you're going to live your life.
We don't get taught how to communicate, how to listen, do we? And
You don't.
even more than that, one of my questions for you is, how does a man learn, when does a man learn to treat a woman? Where does he learn how to do that?
We often learn from our parents how they treat each other. That's the first thing. If we're lucky enough to have parents, well, if we're unlucky to have parents that don't get on, then we learn that. We learn bad behaviour. We learn to argue. We learn how to moan about each other and to be nasty. If you've got good, strong parents, whether they're together or not, they will teach you how to do it. You always look up to people above you. It's an important part of this. It's how we form our attachment styles based on primary caregivers. Not necessarily parents, could be a grandma, could be a teacher, someone that looks after us. We watch them and how they interact and treat each other. And it's about respect. If you see your dad or your primary carer treating women with disrespect, or they go and cheat and have affairs, you're going to learn that. That's normal. That's what should be done. Because you're always going to idolize someone that looks after you and want to copy them. And this is why it's really important as a dad that you've got to make sure you set the example and you don't argue in front of your kids. You don't be nasty. You don't do these things. And we're all guilty of it. Things are going to happen. And I'm not always going to say, I don't argue with my wife, but we can bicker. We can bicker. You don't bicker in front of the kids, but you try not to. All we can do is do our best because we are teaching the next generation how to act based on our requirements. But the other thing is, you ask, how do these men learn how to treat people? They're learning a lot of it now from social media and from influencers, good and bad. There are absolutely positive role models out there, but most of them are just teaching nonsense just to get money and to build up followings. And another way is we learn from each other. We learn from our friends. We learn from our social circle what we should be doing. So if you're really good, you've got a really strong parents who love you and treat you with respect, and then your friend is going out saying horrible stuff, you're going to copy him. So our social circles are really, really important now. Right. And the sad thing is, men in particular, their social circles are shrinking down what they used to be. Women have very much got a social circle. They'll go and tell their friends what's going on. They've got a boyfriend problem, they've got a work problem, go and tell their friends and they will support them. They immediately pounce, take their side and look after them. Men have not got the support system very often. And when we're younger, we do. But maybe you go off to university and you've got your friends. You go and get a job. Everyone moves on. Everyone gets their own life, their own children, their own family. We lose our social circle. It's very difficult as we get older to form new relationships, to men in particular, and to make new friends as we get older. So you've got to look at what you've got. And if someone isn't treating you the right way and you think someone's bad, cut them out of your life. Whether it's a parent, whether it is a friend, whether it's someone that you're working with, life is too short to learn nonsense. Nonsense is one of my buzzwords I've started using a lot now. Because I think we tell ourselves so much nonsense in life, don't we? And we learn it. And it's working out what's true and what's not true, rather than telling ourselves stories that aren't true. Because I don't know about you, Ben, but I tell myself a lot of nonsense that isn't true. I have to counter it with the stuff that is true to balance it out.
Yeah, well, I think part of the issue is because we've lost our elders in society. And what I've learned is that we would have had these elders around in our communities, not olders just old people who are old and not wise, but actual elders who would have taught us how to treat a woman and what you're experiencing right now, and things like that.
Yeah, definitely true. We've lost the ability to have that. And it's partly because people aren't going out and interacting the same way. You might have someone, maybe a teacher who is at work or a community who would teach you the same way, but we don't have that. Everyone's working remotely. Everyone's just focusing on getting the work done as much as they can. We're not going out to groups and communities the same way that we used to. I think community is a strong word. That's where you're going to meet the elders originally, isn't it? From communities. And people don't even support their own communities anymore. We do it in, I see it in religious. Maybe they go to temple, they go out onto church and they meet people that way. But a lot of people don't do it. They don't have nowhere to start. So I think finding them, having that positive role model to influence you and to guide you in the right direction is so important.
Yeah. And I think also finding, I have a men's circle, which we go camping once a month. And I think if you find people who are doing this kind of work, because otherwise you end up following the influencer online who's just cracked the algorithm to, nail the marketing kind of thing. So seeking out wise people, is useful. You mentioned very briefly, attachment styles. You kind of glossed over it. Can you explain what the different attachment styles are? And
absolutely, yes. Well, I mentioned the way that we form relationships is based on our primary caregivers, how they look after us. Are they kind? Are they available for you if you've got a problem? Do they run away? Do your parents divorce when you were 3? And this is how we learn. We understand what's going on and we go into adulthood forming relationships on the same basis. So there are several styles of this, but the most common one of them all is the one I want people to be is secure. And secure is the way that it's aimed for. Secure attachment style, you know what you want, you're happy to go out and get it, you would treat people with respect, you are happy. You're not worried about what's going to go wrong. People that worry about what's going to go wrong, they're more likely to be anxious. An anxious attachment style is someone that's always panicking. My girlfriend left me, she cheated on someone else, and I can't trust women, I'm anxious, but I want it, I want a relationship, but I really am scared to go out and go get it. And then we've got avoidant. Yeah. A lot of people, maybe it's monk-made men, they are just avoidant. They don't want to have to commit to somebody. It could just be because they want to be on their own. They want to live their own lives their own way. It could be they're just terrified and they don't know what to do. But they can form that on the parents. They're avoiding having a relationship because they think, do you know what? I absolutely guarantee it's not going to work out. It's not for me. That happens. And there are various combinations of these that you can get, where you can get more sort of mixtures of the two that come into this. But they're the 3 main ones everyone sort of focuses on. People don't come to me if they're avoidant. I don't get clients who want to pay me loads of money because they're avoidant. People come to me because they're secure, or they are anxious, or they are pursuing relationships with people who are anxious or avoidant. That's what happens. But this all comes down, the way we form these attachments is what we've learned from previous behavior. And my job as a coach is to make people secure ultimately. But I think being anxious to an extent is okay. But the very worst you can be is an anxious avoidant, where you are just avoiding relationships, don't want to get into them. And that's many guys, unfortunately, nowadays. They don't know where to start, what to do, and how to interact with people. Yeah,
that fits into the frame. So I use the King, Warrior, Magician, Lover framework a lot. And the lover is the shadow.
You say magician, do you say?
Magician. The overthinking is one of the shadows for a magician. Yeah. The problem solver is your magician. And the lover would be the addicted lover, which I mentioned earlier, would probably be the anxious one, because you're addicted and you're anxious and you want to make sure everything's okay. And then the avoidant is, well, it's the same, basically.
It is. But avoidance probably don't come to you either, do they? Because they're avoiding it. Unless they've got so much pain in the first place.
I think you're right. Yeah, they're just avoiding everything, aren't they?
But they don't take responsibility. That's what happens. They're not willing to invest or to go and seek help. They're just avoiding it. Burying their head in the sand is the very nature of being avoidant.
If you're listening to the podcast and you're avoidant, comment below. I'd be interested. Does anyone listen to it?
Do people listen to podcasts and watch podcasts if they're avoidant? Maybe it's a distraction. Maybe it saves them going out having to take action. That's what happens. Yeah. If you are listening or watching and you want to go and take action, then go and take some action. Do a small step. You won't regret it. Yeah. Because what is the point in living an unhappy life? Yeah.
And I think, maybe you just don't even know you're avoidant.
That's true. Maybe you don't. Maybe you don't realize it. Maybe you know. I think we know deep down who are making excuses. Like, it's like going to the gym, for example. If I want to go to the gym, I try to focus on going 3 times a week. I haven't been able to go because of various reasons, the car, for example. But sometimes I thought, you know what? Just get myself in that door in the first place. Getting myself to the gym is the first step. Don't have to do a workout. I can go in there, have a shower, do something like that. Once you're in there, it's easier to do it. But I think we know deep down if we're lying to ourselves. We do, and we always lie to ourselves. And it's going back to what I said about telling nonsense. We don't lie to ourselves in a good way. We don't say, oh, you're really good. You say you're really bad. You're not going to be good enough. Women aren't going to be interested in what I have to say. All nonsense. And if it's true, you can learn.
One of the things that I have also noticed, because you said earlier, we idolize our fathers, and I think that's definitely true, especially when we're very young. I mean, I see my 2-year-old studying me. Have you noticed that with your
Yes.
kids?
Yes, but they're different in different ways.
Yeah.
They have to. They are learning. How do they learn? They learn from what's around them.
Yeah. I think one of the other things that I've noticed is that sometimes if a man has a poor relationship with his father, he can go the complete opposite as well.
Yeah.
Have you experienced that?
In both ways, I have, yes. So if a man maybe has an absent father, he wasn't right there for them, didn't do this, wasn't around, they will either think that's acceptable and go and do it, or they will think, do you know what, I don't want that for me. I want to learn, I want to go and I want to be a better person. And the reason for that is, quite often, is that maybe their mother has been a strong role model instead. And they've learnt more sort of nurturing, caring, supportive sides of them. And that's the reason why they're looking for something different. But a lot of people now don't want to just be like their dads if their dads are absent. But sometimes it depends on how much influence they really had. If the dad was there and sometimes reassuring them, giving them support and then took it away, that's almost like giving an addiction to something bad and then taking it away again. Then we crave the addiction and then we crave the need to sort of treat people badly. That's what happens. But so it can happen both ways, really. But you're right. I do see a lot of people that don't want to be resigned to the fact, oh, my dad was absent, because the mum has been so strong and supportive. Sometimes it's not even that. Maybe it's the grandma or the granddad has stepped in and they've been the ones that have been the primary caregiver because they've had to look after them. But yes, absolutely. To answer your question, yes, I do see that, but I also see both sides of it.
Yeah. And what about the mother? What about the mother's influence on a man in his relationship?
I think many men are going to be mummy's boys, like it or not, providing the mum is good and kind. And it's so important. My mum's absolutely amazing. My dad was amazing too, but my mum was the one that did things for me. My dad would work all the time and he would make the money. And then she would go and help me in different ways, find different paths, do what I was happy in. I used to love acting. She'd find drama groups and support me, go and do these things. Things that were going wrong, she'd try and fix them. And that's what mothers do. They're more nurturing and kind and they'll listen to you and more likely to be, well, this is a bit of a cliche, but women are more likely to hug their children and to give them the endorphins of giving them all the support that way. And so my dad wasn't, a lot of men of a certain generation weren't very touchy-feely, weren't like that. But I think it's important, like maybe what you said, we learn things the opposite way. I'm very important that I tell my children every day that I love them. And I tell my wife every day that I love her, and then vice versa. I tell my kids that. It's so important that they know. And I'm very much, when I give them hugs, give them kisses all the time. And that the mother's role, I don't think there should be a difference between the male and the female. We are a team. And it's like dating. We're not competing. We're not trying to do different things. We're taking on what we can and supporting each other. That's what it should be. So my two children are completely different. When I took my 12-year-old to school when he was younger, he was always holding my hand, waved goodbye 20 times at the door, going into the school, in the playground, and he wouldn't want to say goodbye to me. My little one, he holds my hand every day walking to school now, but he won't even look back at me in the playground. And it's really, really weird how they do that because we're all different. We're all independent. They've had the same parents, lived the same life, but they've had each other and they learn from each other. But I think we have to find our own way. And all our parents can do is do their best. Mums and dads, parents, friends, any sort of relative, any connections, do our best to try and be positive and to enforce confidence. Because I think people have got no confidence nowadays in themselves and self-belief and self-trust and all the selves going on there, self-worth. We have to try and boost that up for people.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. But I think my question was more like, if you've had a bad relationship with your mother as a child, how might that show up in your dating and then eventually in your relationship?
If you have a bad relationship with your mother, when I've had clients who've done that and they've had bad relationships, they often want to go and escape. Right. And they want to escape by going to get a strong man in their life instead. But that doesn't always lead to having the right choices. They are very much aware, I don't want to be like my mum, I don't want to do this. They need the connection. But I think if you haven't got a positive female side... Sorry,
is this for a man or is this for a woman?
This is for a male. This is for both. Right. I'll tailor it more towards a man than for you. This is it's generally overall. I think when women in particular, when women do this, they will more likely to be more masculine in their life. If a man hasn't got a positive female role model in their life, he will then be perhaps a bit more toxic, should we say. He will try and be more, I'm not going to share my feelings with people. I'm not going to tell someone when they've upset me. I'm going to go and do it my own way. I'm going to find my own path. Maybe make them all determined to go and do things. But a lot of clients don't have a good relationship with either of their parents for whatever reason. And what I mean by that is maybe they've moved from another country and they've come to this country to escape and to start their life. Or the parents don't support them in what they're doing. But there's an opposite here. I've got a client at the moment. He's very, very close to his mum and he's young. The mum is very, very supportive, homeschooled, lovely, lovely guy. But he had a client the other day and he said to me afterwards how good the sessions were because he's never had a positive role model to learn these things from. But if he didn't have the mum and he was more dad focused, then who knows what would have happened. But I think it depends. We all do things in different ways. And I don't think it's fair to say just because you haven't got a strong female role model that you aren't going to be able to embrace the sort of feminine energies anymore. I wouldn't say that's necessarily a pattern that I've seen with my client. I guess that's more what your question was, wasn't it? More
Yeah,
about
I was just wondering if there was an effect, someone has a bad relationship with their mum, and is that, then they learn that's how to relate to a woman? I don't know.
But again, I think it's the opposite sometimes, like you said.
Right.
We make our own mind up how to do it.
Yeah.
If you had a bad relationship with your mum, maybe you will seek out a positive female to replace them.
Right.
Someone that's looking after you and caring, or maybe you just don't need that anymore. So I wouldn't say it would define you 100% on what you're going to make your choices. It depends on the person. Yeah. Because it can go both ways, can't it?
Yeah. I've learned that the part of initiation, male initiation, is also the separation from the mother. And I guess that because a lot of men never have that, that may be why they end up as
that's what I'm saying, isn't it?
Boys. Yeah.
It is. But then I think that women always want someone that is close to their mum.
Yes.
They want that. Not too close to the mum, because then mum becomes a problem. That's something else I've seen a lot with my male clients. The mum's always around. The mum's always interfering. Mum makes decisions. He's going off to have home-cooked meals every week, and I've got to go and sit down to dinner. This happens. But I think there has to be a period of time where you have to leave your mum and go out and find your own way and make your own decisions. Because it's the fear of judgment as well. We don't want our mum interfering. It doesn't happen. I remember, as supportive as my mum has been, when I was living at home, if I'd bring a girl back or even go out with my mates, she'd come down the stairs. She'd be awake. Who have you got now? What's happening here? So you have to start keeping secrets, and maybe keeping secrets and living your life independently is what you need to do. And I think we never want to be completely cut off our parents, but we have to live our own lives. And that's something as a dad, we have to look on our kids. So one day they're going to fly the nest. But I think kids are always going to need you one way or another. They are. And if you've got a supportive parent, embrace it. Be lucky, be grateful for that. I've got a very supportive mum. My dad was always supportive. But I've got my own life. But even financially, I think until you're much older, parents are obliged to sort of pay for everything. I think we've got to pay for university now. We've got to pay for the living costs and everything. It goes on. Then we've got to pay for the weddings and pay for the deposit on the first house and the first car. Actually, so you better get on with your parents because you're going to need them. Otherwise, you're in trouble. If you haven't got that, then you're more likely to find your own way and do it and maybe rebel against it.
Very good. So what's your top 3 pieces of advice to a young man who is wanting to get himself into a healthy relationship? He's serious about it. He's not just dating girls, and maybe he needs to go and date some girls and just sort of...
You have to get the experience to go and do it. For example, I work with lots of high-end matchmaking agencies who are very expensive. And men say to me, well, I want to go and join an agency. It's going to cut all the nonsense out. I'm going to go and meet all these hot women. I'm going to be great. I'm going to have a great relationship. If you've not had the experience, you don't know what you really want. You don't know how to interact. So then my first piece of advice is pretty much what you just said. Get yourself out there meeting and interacting with people. And I recommend dating apps all very well. That's a whole nother conversation, really. But the odds of getting someone on a dating app are quite low because there's so many men compared with women. But it's still very, very valid. Do all you can. So my first bit of advice to you is to maybe think about some speed dating events. Speed dating, if you haven't had a date in your life, you've never met any women, never talked to them, go out there and meet 20 women in one evening over an hour and a half, and you're going to interact with 20 women. You're not going to like them all, but you don't do it just to necessarily chat them all up and to get dates out of it. You do it just to practice socializing. What do I say to this one? She laughed when I said that. That's my style. I'm going to dress a bit better and make the effort to go and do that. And if you don't want to go and do that, or as well as doing that, try some social clubs. There are lots of, like the same thing that you're doing, really, your camping trips, but there's run clubs out there. There are talks, gym clubs. Go out there and meet people you can interact, male and female. Because what ties into that, this is still point 1 here, is boost up your male social circle as well. When you go to these speed dating events, don't just focus on talking to the women, talk to the guys. Because a guy there might know someone who's really good for you. He might be in the same situation. Maybe he's lived through it. He can direct you to a better event. So the simple act of getting yourself out to real life events is the first bit of advice I can give you. The second thing is to work out who you are and what you really, really want. Because we don't know who we are. And it's absolutely fine to go and discover that. We don't know who we want dating. And if I ask you to make a list of 20 things you want in a partner, you might say, well, base it on Sabrina Carpenter or some famous singer or actor. You don't know if you haven't had the experience. What do you really want? Do you want someone that's funny? Do you want someone that's intelligent, someone that's passionate, someone that's a good cook? Work out what you want. Go and date multiple people. Have opportunities. I don't want you to go and settle for the first person comes along, no matter how much you want it, because that would be a bad choice. A lot of people meet people at university. I think common ground is important, So if you go out and meet people at social clubs, you're more likely to interact with them. And the last bit of advice I want to tell you is believe in yourself. Because if you don't believe that you're worthy and you're ever going to meet somebody, you're always going to make bad choices. So it ties into the first two quite a lot. So go to the gym, boost up yourself a little bit so you feel good, get yourself moving, get some hobbies, but understand who you really are and think, you know what? Women would be interested in me for this reason. I am quite funny. And all these 3 points do tie together completely, but they all tie into the same bit of advice, which is pretty much just go out there. Go out there and interact with people. If you're sitting at home, watching a bit of porn, bit of YouTube in the evenings, a bit of Netflix, your girlfriend or wife is not going to knock on the door and say, here I am, here's a pizza. It's not going to happen. You have to go out there and actually take those first steps. And if you need it, get support to help you, because there's some good coaches out there, and just go and do it, because otherwise you're going to live a life of doing the same thing over and over again and being unhappy. And that's going to get depressing. And people now are taking antidepressants more than ever, particularly young guys, because they're not happy. And the doctor will say to you, keep taking them. It's not the solution. It's going to make you worse. Go out there, live a life authentically, but just take the small steps. You're never going to get 3 answers out of me, Ben, I'm afraid. I'll give you 10 in one. Does that answer the questions enough?
That's great. It gives me lots to think about and pull on. Yeah, I totally agree with the antidepressant thing. It's wild. There's so many better things you can do.
There really are. But the doctors say, okay, you've got a problem, here's some pills. It's like people anti-obesity, go and take a fat jabs. It's a quick fix, but there's so many side effects to it, it's not going to work. You have to look at the root cause of any problem to really understand what the issues are. And loneliness, the root cause is, well, I'm not doing anything about it. You don't have to be lonely. You can go to an event, go to a talk and start talking to people. When we were kids, all you got to do is say hello to somebody, male or female. If they're not interested, so what? You didn't know them, it's still a stranger. But by going and starting those conversations, if you can't do it, talk to people at bus stops, talk to a checkout girl if they still have one. Check out women, talk to people, ask them what the time is, ask them what the weather is, interact. Learn to do it, and the easier it becomes.
Yeah, it's all about communication, basically.
Always communication.
And knowing who you are, which is music to my ears. I like that. You mentioned dating apps, so I'm interested.
Did I?
Did
I? Yeah.
What are your thoughts on dating apps? So surely there's been an effect, right? For men in particular.
There have. Now, let me say first of all, but dating apps do serve a good purpose. They can help you meet people very quickly. You can search for what you want, and you can potentially get a date the same day that you're talking to people if you know what you're doing. The trouble with the apps is, I said to you before, on Tinder, for example, there's 9 men on there to every female. So the odds are really against you. You have to know what to do right from the start, because the algorithms are designed right from the start to work against you. If you've got a rubbish profile and you haven't got the best pictures, as most guys don't know what to say to people, then you're going to get a low score. If you've got a low score, it's not going to show you to the nice women. Because why would it upset them? The biggest complaint of women, by the way, is that the men are awful because they're going through all these poor profiles. You've got to set it up in the right way with the right sort of star pictures. And so there absolutely can be a tool that can work. But if you're going to do it in the right way. Get some professional pictures, get some advice. Don't just go on ChatGPT and write a profile because people can see through that. Use it for guidance if you want to, but make sure you're interacting and you're using it positively and show who you are. If you've got a boring life and you sit there all day do nothing, then go and get some exciting things, but don't try and fake it. The amount of companies that are approaching me now, they want to sell AI-generated pictures to people. So you get a picture of you like you are now, sitting there in your office. Here I am now. Suddenly I'm in the Amazon. Yeah. Here I am now, jumping out of a plane, and you can fake it with AI. But that's not you. That's not authentic to who you are. Yeah, maybe it is to you, perhaps, but possibly. But you've got to have that. So you've got to be authentic. Don't just get prompts off. Some people go on there, get conversation starters off ChatGPT, and then they have a real conversation with people, and then they end up getting a date and don't know how to interact. So my belief is be true to who you are. Experiment. Be kind to people. Be a bit cheeky. Don't be rude, because a lot of men are taught now just to be rude to people. We mentioned toxic masculinity. There are coaches out there teaching men to be really nasty to women. And it's all the whole red pill stuff. Being really nasty. If you're really nasty, they're going to want you. They're going to think, oh, who's this guy treating me differently? And I hate seeing that, because imagine if it worked. Every man would be kicked off these dating apps and banned for life for being nasty to people because they're going to get reported. But I think you've got to treat people the way you want to be treated, because we can't just play games in a negative way. So my advice to you, if you're going to use dating apps, the one that I like the best is actually Hinge. Hinge is the best one. It's the best of a bad bunch, to be honest, but it's still a good one. I like Hinge because the profiles are a bit longer. There's more search options. There's more you can do. And they say it's designed to be deleted, but it's still designed to take your money. Because all dating apps are businesses, and this is the reality. You've got to realize they are allowed to make money. They didn't make any money. They wouldn't be able to run them in the first place.
Yeah.
But what's happened is that these came along, and by having them, people want the quicker option. People then don't. That really freaked me out. People just don't. They socialize the same way. They used to go out years ago and they had to go and meet people in real life. Now we don't need to. We can hide behind the apps, hide behind social media, hide behind Instagram. How many friends have we got that we've reconnected with, maybe because of Facebook? Wonderful. How many have we actually seen in the last 10, 15 years?
Yeah.
Not very many, probably, to most people.
So it sounds like your strategy with the dating apps is like, as well as, not just,
yes,
not your main thing. Like it's a sort of secondary thing.
That's the advice to everybody.
Yeah.
Do all you can. Don't just focus on one. Don't just focus on going out all the time. You're going to get burnt out. Don't just focus on using the apps all the time. You're going to get burnt out. Do maybe 20 minutes a day most on the dating app. Go to 2 events a week. Maybe 1 social thing and 1 dating thing. They don't need to be expensive. You can go to a singles event, £15 is the average price. It's not that expensive. Get yourself out there. I always recommend the mix. And then talk to your friends. Ask them if they know anybody. Can they support you? Do what you can. Get the advice. Try something new. But absolutely don't just rely on one thing because you're going to get so frustrated with it. Mix things up. If it's not working, if you've been on the same dating app for years and not got any dates, delete it. Don't do that. Go and do something different. Maybe try a different dating app. Maybe get some new pictures. Try something different. Reinvigorate it. It's the best thing you can do because living the same mistake over and over again is not going to change things.
Definition of insanity.
It is. I didn't want to say that. I don't want to say cliches, but you're absolutely right. It is.
I don't mind a cliche. Okay, cool. I've got some quick fire questions.
How did I know you're going to say that?
What's that?
I'll try and answer quickly then, succinctly. Go for it.
Biggest dating myth. The biggest dating myth that men believe.
I think it goes back to what we said, that women want a bad boy. That's what I think the myth is. It is nonsense. Bad boy's not going to be a good dad. It's not going to be someone that's going to provide for you. It's not going to be a fun person. And men always believe that. And we're taught that. Short answers. That's my short answer for you. I'll do my best. Sorry, Ben. Yeah.
Biggest mistake men make on their first date. I think I know the answer, but
not flirting is the biggest mistake. That's
Good.
the biggest mistake.
I thought you were going to say fixing their problem.
Well, I've already said that. So yeah. I think for now, I think not flirting, because you go on the date. If you don't flirt, what happens is you have a really good conversation and they say, well, I liked him, but he didn't show me the interest in me. I'm not going to see him again. Yeah. And therefore, you're going to make yourself become just a friend or a situationship. It's not going to be a long-term strategy. So always try and flirt and use your energies in the right way.
Do you think we've forgotten how to flirt?
Yes, we have, but we can't ever completely forget it. It's something that's built within us, flirting. It is not always a sexual thing. It's a friendly thing. It's a short answer, but I think we all within us, in the same way we made any friend in our life when we were children, we've still got those abilities and we have to have them survival mechanisms to flirt. All it is about being playful. We can do that again.
Nice. I like that one. That's good. One quality women consistently find attractive in men.
Honesty. You want someone who, and it ties into consistency as well. They want someone who, if he's going to be interested, he'll let you know. If he's not interested, then he'll tell you the same thing, and not cheating on you. If he's going to say he's available, he's available. It all ties into that. So I think honesty is one thing that they ask me for.
Being a man of your word is something that I talk about a lot. So yeah.
Yeah, but that's a line, isn't it? You have to be.
Yeah.
If you're going to do it, just do it. Easy.
In your opinion, what does becoming a mature man?
It's taking responsibility for yourself, living your life to the absolute max as much as you want, and helping other people. That's what I believe. We don't just do this on our own. We're not on a one-person journey going to get all we can for ourselves. By helping, giving something back to your communities, to your friends, to anyone you can help, that is what being a man is. It's being selfless, but also realising one very important thing, that we have to look after ourselves first. It's like if a plane's on fire, you've got to save yourself first, put the gas mask on first. Because if you don't do that, you can't look after everybody else. It's realising you can be the hero, you've got to be the hero to yourself first.
Yeah, nice. Very good. And to close this out, one piece of guiding advice to a young man that you haven't said already.
I say a lot of things. You laugh at that.
Yeah, so young men, about women, about masculinity, and about relationships.
Women want this. Women want this just as much as you do. That's what men don't really understand. I have an equal number of men and women that come to me, but women really want a strong partner who's going to make them happy. They don't necessarily want the tallest, biggest, the most rich man that they want. Women are independent, do it themselves. They want a man who just knows who they are and lives their life with some sort of passion. It can be a passion for golf. It can be a passion for business. It can be a passion for collecting Pokemon cards, potentially, if it's the right person. But they want someone with passion and ambition. If you do that and you show it, that's going to come across. That's all they want. And going back to energy again, we all resonate at different energies, and we've got to resonate at the right frequencies and be upbeat and be positive and know what we want. Otherwise, they'll sniff it out very quickly. So there's no need to be scared of women. We're on the same side, and just go out and start some interactions. And anyone listening, just do something, please. Just go out and go to an event, book some help somewhere, just do something, because there's no need to live your life on your own being bored and lonely. There's a massive place full of people that would love to meet you.
That's brilliant. That is all of my questions. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome, Ben.
If anyone would like to help, would like help with their dating, how do they find out about you?
There are many different ways. You can go onto my website, which is jamespreece.com, Preece. You can go on my Instagram, which is James Preece Coaching. You can send me messages on there. I've got my own podcast, 300 episodes now, called the Love Machine Podcast. Please check that out. And you can find me on Facebook and LinkedIn, all the usual places. Just reach out to me. Tell me what you thought of this episode. Give me some any questions you've got. I'd love to help you and give you a bit of a kickstart. Just don't be. I'm not scary. I'm not one of these horrible, toxic people. I'm there just to help people, and I love to give back.
James,
so
that was
please
awesome.
reach out.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Thanks a lot. Nice to see you, Ben. Bye for now.